Shammara. Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. It's good to hear things are going well today. All right, so tell me, um, kind of reflecting on our last session, what were some of the things that stood out to you that you found helpful?
Um, well, we talked about some things that I was supposed to do that I did not do,
Oh, that's okay.
which I
But
think would have been helpful.
oh, it's okay. What were some of the things that uh, maybe as we worked through that you were able to change in the session that you felt like made a big difference or were helpful?
Um, I think in the end, if I remember correctly, we were really paying a little bit more attention to the punctuation, and that helped slow it down, and um, I don't know, it made it better. So I would say that
I
was
thought so. Yeah, that was one of the things I wrote down that I thought was really helpful. So yeah, paying attention to the punctuation and then observing that. So putting those pauses in, giving it more or less space, allowing the punctuation to kind of direct and guide you.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was one of the things I definitely thought was really helpful last time and that worked really beautifully. So good, awesome. I'm glad that stuck with you and that you felt like that was a helpful change. Um, yeah, I know it's still like in flux in the process, but definitely I thought it was pretty cool that the difference when you just really focused on that punctuation. Um, awesome. Yeah, that's a really good takeaway. Beautiful. Um, great. So then for today, did you want to go back over that second session section of the book that we had looked at? Maybe start there.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I apologize. Like
Oh, it's okay.
yesterday, I meant to find like I had it written down that my goal was to find a section where there was more than two people talking
Okay.
for to practice like what that would
Oh,
be like.
sure, right. Yeah. That's okay. We'll do that today. That's no problem. Yeah, I just thought that would be a good exercise, a good challenge, to have maybe like three different characters that are talking. But yeah, I mean, already with having the narrator and the couple characters, we already were doing really beautiful work with that. So it just kind of adds an extra layer, an extra little challenge, right?
Absolutely. So I'm just
So
remember like I said in my notes I did have it that I was supposed to find something with three.
yeah,
Um,
that's all right.
and I just got busy and did not so
Hey, it's okay. No problem. It happens. All right. So, um, as we are um diving in today, then maybe we could start with the section that we did last time and just see where it's at, like what stuck with you, what areas you felt like you grew in, how things changed. So I'd love to start there if that sounds good to you.
sure, yeah, we can do that.
Great.
I think I was doing chapter 12, explain this
Yeah.
like I'm five.
Hmm.
Okay.
Great.
Chapter 12, explain this like I'm five. The night held its breath, and she stepped through. Inside, the air changed the way it does in places that mean business. Filtered, faintly chemical, quiet, on purpose. Fluorescent lights hummed, a thin sound that wouldn't quit. The hallway was a tired beige. The camera blinked, steady and impatient. The door shut like paperwork behind her, final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross a threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused, then winced at herself. Sorry, I just. He was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops a card like a curse and vanishes. Keith smiled. Yes, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't actually love him, do they? A careful shrug. He has a particular talent. He knows what to say. Oh? She tilted her head. Because he didn't feel that impressive to me. Keith's eyes lit with quiet amusement. No? I'm going way further than
That's okay. I mean, I think it's fine, especially because I think then we're kind of exploring some new spots. But I definitely heard some good progress there, and I heard things stick with you. So that I was very excited to hear. That there were things that like stayed in your mind. So I really liked that. That you hung on to. So what was maybe one thing that you noticed that you thought, oh, okay, this definitely felt good. This felt improved there.
I don't know. I think I was doing okay with the transitions from the girl, Clara, and um, Keith. So I'll say her voice and his voice. Not, I don't think I was doing too badly there.
Good. I love it. So I'm curious. Tell me, tell me what you would say. What makes each character distinct if you were going to describe their vocal characteristics?
Well, for her, I just tried to have a little bit higher of a register because I do associate that with youth. And
Okay.
then with him, I tried to give a lower register and be um, a bit more precise because he's kind of business-like.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. So being able to define those things for yourself and go, okay, so these are the defining characteristics, the things that, um, really make each voice unique and distinct from each other and those different characteristics. So beautiful. I love that. Very nice defining what that is. I thought that was really good. All right. So then tell me, so with these two characters, um, what would you say is maybe like if you were going to give them a distinct vocal characteristic that you wanted to kind of assign to them? Um, so something I'll do sometimes is I'll say, okay, what if this character tends to kind of drop off at the ends of phrases? They tend to taper down at the end of phrases. How does that affect this character? So just thinking of things like that. So what would be, what do you think? What kind of strikes you as something that could be like a defining vocal ism, like a tick or something that you could give to each of the characters?
Um, I kind of want, I guess, Clara to be. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I need to really figure out what that would sound like coming from me. But I really feel like Clara should sound a little bit more like Daria, like we the
Yeah.
I
I love
feel like
that. Yeah, and we had worked on Daria's voice quite a bit. So, I think that works. I think that works beautifully because you already have a really clear, distinct concept of what that's going to be. All right. So, a little bit more like Daria.
yeah, I feel like I mean right now I think she's kind of a little bit nervous and just because she's just meeting this guy and things aren't going the way she was expecting. So maybe she is a little bit more excited, but I
Hmm.
do think that just the way that she speaks mostly in the book, she's very dry and
Hmm.
not super emotional. So I would like
Right.
to do a better job of reflecting that
Okay.
as a voice for her. And then
Yeah.
for him, I don't know, like he's in this scene and a couple others, but he doesn't play a huge role. Um, so just making him a generic dude, I think is fine. I know that's terrible to say, but
That's all right.
and then and then um maybe try to make any of the other male characters have a little bit like more pizzazz or a little bit more character. Just because this guy doesn't really do anything that or say anything that's that interesting, and like he kind of just gets her going, and then you don't really hear that much from him. So it's kind of like I don't know if it's necessary to put in a whole lot of work for his voice.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That you're like, I feel like I don't need a ton of identifying characteristics for this particular character. Yeah. Okay. So then, all right. So tell me then, let's actually, you know what? Let's just do it again using Daria as our character inspiration.
And like I said, I do apologize because I did plan on practicing a little bit more to try to get more of that. Like I wanted to like practice what that sounded like to me so that
Yeah,
I could I don't know record it and kind of listen back and see if that was kind of what I was going for because for
sure.
whatever reason what's going on outside of my body is not the same as how I hear things sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Um, um,
That's okay. So, part of the process is that actually I think is a really good observation. Part of the process is recognizing this is how this feels to me. Um, that this is I'm doing this thing. Um, this is in my head, and then this is how I create those sounds, and this is how it feels when I create those sounds. Um, so I think that actually is uh, a something that is good to recognize and go, oh, I need to understand my perception versus what actually is being heard or coming out,
right.
if that makes sense.
100%. And
Yeah.
and and that's what I'm saying. Like I know that I do this. Like in my mind, I think I'm doing something, and I'm like, nah, I wasn't doing
Mm.
that. And
Yeah,
so
it's not coming across exactly the same way that it is in your mind.
exactly. And so
Yeah.
listening, like recording it and listening to it, and then adjusting accordingly has been helpful.
Hmm.
And so I would like to do that for this character, but I have not um, um, done that
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Yep, but I will
Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and I want you to try it again and really play up the dryness in the characterization. I think that was a comment you said that I was like, "Ooh, I really like that." So can we try really leaning into her dry sense of humor and just like, that's a big part of her personality that shines through because I think that's gonna make a pretty big change to how the character lands. Um, I like utilizing a character you already developed. That's something I do pretty often. I have just like, my voiceover tool belt. And so sometimes, especially if I don't have a lot of time to prepare, they, at the drop of a hat are like, hey, we're going to have you, also read for this random side character. I go, oh, okay. And then I just sort of pull from my tool belt of random character voices I've created in the past. Um,
Like,
so what's cool is you've already kind of fleshed out the character. You already have explored and gone, this is how I think of the character. This is how it's coming across and landing. Here are tweaks we've already made. So that actually I think is a really useful thing to do is take something out of your tool belt that's worked for you in the past and then use it now. So I really like that idea of going, this could be really challenging to me, but it really isn't so bad because I'm using something I've used in the past again. So yeah, I think that's awesome.
now my problem though is that I know we did this character, a while back,
Right, it's been a little
but
bit
it's
of
just been a
time.
little bit of time, so you just have to bear with me. But I'm
Yeah, that's totally
I'll figure
okay.
it
Yeah, we'll
out.
have to explore it a little bit, but that's okay.
Sounds good. Chapter 12. Explain this like I'm 5. The night held its breath, and she stepped through. Inside, the air changed the way it does in places that mean business. Filtered, faintly chemical, and quiet on purpose. Fluorescent lights hummed, a thin sound that wouldn't quit. The hallway was a tired beige. The camera blinked steady and impatient. The door shut like paperwork behind her, final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross a threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused, then winced at herself. Sorry. I just. He was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops a card like a curse and vanishes. Keats smiled. Yes, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't exactly love him, do they?
Okay. Very nice. All right. So
That was not good.
that's
Um,
okay. That's all right. So what did you feel like changed? What's the first thing that comes to mind that you tried to change or tweak about that?
well, I remembered that we talked about the narration being a little bit more suspenseful, so I was like trying to do that. And then I was trying to also be a little bit more dry and sarcastic with Clara, but that didn't really go so well. And then I think
Okay.
I was fine with the Keats guy.
Got it. All right. Yeah. So, all right. So the thing is, it is a trial and error kind of thing when we're exploring and fleshing out and creating these characters and whatnot. It is something that is going to be a little bit more trial and error. So we find the things that are like, this worked, this didn't work, I liked this, I didn't like that. Um, so that's what we're doing here. And I think that's beautiful. It's you learn something from every take. You learn something whether it goes the way you wanted or whether it doesn't. So beautiful work there. So let's try then. Let's go to um Let's try just a little bit of a different sound. So instead of maybe the dry characterization, maybe we make her a little more sarcastic this time. What do you think?
Okay, we try
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
So lean into a little more sarcasm.
Okay. Um, so I guess why don't I just start with the door shutting and then just
Sure.
go right
Yeah,
into
let's do it.
it? Okay. The door shut like paperwork behind her. Final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross the threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused, then winced at herself. Sorry. I just. He was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops a card like a curse and vanishes. Keith smiled. Yes, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't actually love him, do they?
Nice. All right. So then, how did you feel differently about this take?
I think it went better.
I think so too. Yeah. I agree. I felt like she had a little more like energy and a little edge to her, which I really enjoyed. I thought it sounded great. So I did think that there were some things that we can tweak still. Um, like I think there can be a little bit more nuance to it. So what do you think for, our main character right now? Um, I think she can also I would love for you to find moments where um just where she has a little maybe a little bit more um mm, like a little bit more life to her, like where she's poking fun or she thinks something's amusing. Just find moments where we can see a little bit of like a different side to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
The door shut like paperwork behind her. Final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross the threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused and then winced at herself. Sorry, I just. He was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops the card like a curse and vanishes. Keith smiled. Yes, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't actually love him, do they?
Okay, nice. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. Did you feel like it changed it and how did it feel different to you? Like what felt varied?
Um, I tried to think about it as she wasn't being so serious, right?
Mm,
She's just trying to figure out what's going on, and that she's instead of, I don't know. I think I was trying to play it before, like she was freaking out a little bit. Not freaking out, but like she was more serious about it. But I think
hmm.
this time I tried to add. You mentioned, that she's amused by what's going on, and so
Yeah.
I tried to I guess convey that.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. All right. Um, so what about the other character? What could be something that's kind of a defining characteristic that stands out? Um, like, so for her, now she's a little bit amused, right?
Hmm.
So what about the other character? What could be something that kind of stands out?
Um, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Just trying. I'm just trying to do a more manly voice.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So I think there should be a little bit more of some kind of personality that shines through. Like, is he just like leave me alone? Like what is it more like a I'm bored and I just want someone to talk to? Is it a man, I had a long day and I'm wiped out? Is it a oh, I find you really fascinating and I want to learn more about you. Like, what's that attitude towards her?
I think that at this portion of the book, he is kind of trying to be a bit more marketing, like he wants to appeal to her.
Sure. Yeah.
He wants her to join the organization. Um, so he doesn't want to, but he doesn't want to look too eager. But um, he's definitely a bit of a salesman.
Okay. All right. So a little bit eager, trying to be a little more, selling her on it kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it like still in like I think he thinks if it's mysterious enough and you
Yeah.
know maybe
Okay.
that would appeal to her.
Great. Yeah. So let's go ahead and try that, being a little more intriguing with it.
Okay. The door shut like paperwork behind her. Final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross the threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused and then winced at herself. Sorry, he was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops the card like a curse and vanishes. Keith smiled. Yeah, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't exactly love him, do they?
Good, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I like that trying to kind of draw her in, engage her more, um be a little more like enticing. I like that. Yeah, so how did you feel about that?
I think it was better. I think his voice was a little better.
Okay,
Um,
good. Excellent.
I just think I feel bad. I'm like, I just want to be like, honey, this dialogue's not that great. But
Oh.
um, yeah.
Yeah, that it could be a little bit more engaging and exciting. You feel like,
I mean, this is the first time she's in there.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I feel like he should be a little bit more like, welcome to repeat. Like I don't know, like sit like
Sure.
totally stellar, and
Yeah, I get
he's
that.
asked, I don't know, like he's
Because it's the first impression that she's making here.
exactly,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. I think
So,
that be a little better here. Anyway,
right. Yeah. So it kind of to you, you're like, I would like her to have a little more personality and like flavor and flair
yeah.
throughout.
And the other part is like, I don't know, like why did what about anything that was said would make her think that people don't like uh, the Alden guy? Like, come on,
Ah,
you know,
yeah.
it's a little bit odd. Anyway, um,
That's okay. It's a work in progress, right? So
sure,
it can
for
improve.
sure. Like, and I do think like we probably could just not have that line in there and it would still be fine. It would be like he has a
Right.
particular talent. He's a recruiter. He has a particular talent. He knows
Hmm.
what to say. He knows how to bring the people in. Like, there's more that could be said here. Anyway, I it's more just that I find the way my husband writes a little bit um it's hard to say some of these things, like to actually put them to words.
Yeah. Yeah, so there actually so what you're talking about, there actually is a Meisnerism. So he's an acting teacher. He's the primary film acting methodology that is used in America. And one of the things he says, one of his principles, a Meisner principle, is that the words don't matter. And what he means by that is that there is so much more going on that is not the actual literal words. And instead, what it is we're looking at what's being said underneath it, the sound, the flow, the texture, the uh, like punchiness of it, or the flirty quality. Is it breathless? Is it gritty? So, so one of his isms or principles is that the words don't matter. That's like a famous thing that's one of his principles. Um, I do think that the words do matter, but I understand what he's getting at, which is we are trying to get the subtext. We're trying to get underneath the text. We're trying to get across um, what's happening underneath it all. So I feel like if we lean a little more into what each of them want from the other in this moment,
Mhm.
like what are they doing? So he's trying to like draw her in, entice her kind of a thing. So we focus on doing that, and we worry less about the words themselves and we worry more about getting that feeling conveyed, that he's trying to like, lure her and like have some bait that's gonna attract her, right? And then for her, what is it that she wants from him? Is it she just wants to like play with him? Is it that she wants him to leave her alone? And we try to get that across. So one example is I can say hello multiple different ways. I'm saying the same word, but I'm saying it and it's going to mean something different. So I can say hello like, I'm so excited to see you, like, hello. I can say it like, who invited you? I don't want you here. Hello. I can say it like, I can't hear you on the phone. Hello? 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 Like, are you there? What's going on? I can say hello like, I had a really hard day and I just really need a hug. Hello. Right? And so that just kind of illustrates that concept of the words don't matter as much as the subtext matters. And so I want you to try it again, focusing a little bit more on, because you will have scripts that you go, I would never say it this way. This feels awkward to me. Um, and that is going to happen sometimes. So I want you to try going through, and this time we are going to focus on can we can we make it where it's going to basically, regardless of whatever you say, you could be saying Mary had a little lamb, but you're going to be trying to entice her, draw her in, captivate her. And then she's going to be trying to, whatever her goal is, get him to leave her alone. She's like trying to bait him? Like, is she trying to get information? Is she trying to get an opportunity? Like, what is her goal in regards to this person? Um, so we're gonna go ahead and try that.
Hmm. The door shut like paperwork behind her. Final, polite, unforgiving. Okay. Clara turned because she had to see the person who just let her cross the threshold she hadn't been sure was real. You're not Alden. The man who opened the door looked briefly amused, as if her sentence matched a conversation he already had queued up in his head. No, I'm not. Where is he? She paused and then winced at herself. Sorry, I just. He was the one who. Alden is a recruiter, Keith said, not unkindly. He doesn't like staying in the office. So he just drops a card like a curse and vanishes? Keith smiled. Yes, that's more or less how he works. That's not reassuring. It isn't meant to be, he said gently. It's meant to be effective. Clara hesitated. People here don't exactly love him, do they?
Okay, good. So, how did that feel different?
Um, Kind of like you said, I just tried not to focus on what I feel is the awkward words, and I just tried to, for her, she's there for information. She's there to try to decide if she wants to basically join this team. She wants to understand about herself as well. Like, so there's a little bit of an eagerness there.
Yeah.
Um, and then for him, I think that um, I don't know if you noticed, but like he's already been through all this already with her before. Like this is a repeat. He's able to repeat just like she can, meaning nothing that she says is a surprise.
Hmm.
Um, and that he's trying to get her mind off of the Alden guy because he's just a recruiter and that he's there
Yeah.
to provide the information that she seeks. That's kind of what I was trying to do. I don't know if that
Yeah, nice. Okay, good. Excellent. All right. So I definitely felt like it was a little more, there was a little more suspense to it. Like I was a little bit like, what's going to happen? There are certain things that, maybe we don't grasp until a little later, like that it's a repeat, for instance. That might be something that there just isn't quite enough, context for us to grasp right away, possibly. Um, it could be different, but I didn't get that at first, but I feel like that's something that I could get later on, that could be like, oh, okay, I make that connection later on. Which I think would be perfectly fine as well. Um,
and he talks about it later, and so maybe
yeah.
it would be like,
Yeah, I
oh,
think that would be something I maybe put together later on, which I think is perfectly fine. Um, so all right. So I did like that better. So did you feel better about it? Like, did you enjoy it more? Did you like it more?
I did. Yeah, I think, um, yeah, thinking about how they're supposed to feel is a really good tool rather than the words themselves. I mean,
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Great. Um, yeah, I definitely heard some changes there. So I was like, I really like that. Like I feel like that landed well. And so um yeah, and I think too, it's some books will start out with being very like throw you into the middle of a battle. And then others are like, a little more suspenseful or a little bit more like intrigue to them. And you're like, wait a minute, what's going to be happening here, and I think that's okay, that we go, I'm not sure what's going to happen, or I'm not sure, what's going on here, and we're still putting it together. I think that's all right. And it comes across. So yeah, so do you feel like you liked that? Do you feel like you would want to change it? I know that it's still like in the editing process, so it is possible too that this could change. Um, we just don't know how or when or if it will change. So that's, it's a possibility. So I feel like you can just know that it maybe will change, it maybe won't. And you as a voice actor sometimes will have things that you go, this is a little less comfortable to me, or I don't feel like I would phrase it this way, or I would have written it this way. But learning how to deal with that, I think, is really important and going to be very useful in the long run for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to try this section again, or do you want to try a different section?
Um,
Like go a little bit, working a little bit forward. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah, let's
Maybe go to like the next chunk of this, or do you want to find an entirely different section? Like I feel like we could work on maybe the next chunk of this, could maybe be a
yeah,
good
let's do that.
next step.
So do you want me to go a little bit further forward
Yeah,
or
yeah, a little bit further forward, I think would be good into the scene.
okay. Okay. He didn't sprawl. He sat deliberately and carefully, and she noticed He'd taken the one with his back to the wall. Start anywhere, he invited. Clara wrapped both hands around the glass, not because it was cold, but because it had edges. What happened to me? Keats took his time, like he always took time to consider a question before beginning to answer it. You survived in a way most people don't, he observed. And you noticed. That's not enough, he finished for her, unoffended. It's the beginning. The bus, she clarified to make it explicit. Keats nodded once. You refused to die so hard that something broke. She laughed, one sharp sound. It landed wrong, like a cough wearing a costume. Something. Time, he answered. Or whatever keeps the schedule when people miss their appointments. You're saying my stubbornness made the universe blink? At least open negotiations. I grabbed a steering wheel. That's kind of a negotiation, he pointed out. A persuasive one. Clara watched him. He looked like someone who'd learned how not to spook people. You talk like this is normal, she remarked. It is, he returned without vanity. For me. And for others. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but I think it's more common than we want to admit. I suspect that deja vu is simply one's brain repeating to protect someone, and then protecting them again by refusing to remember it. There's no way to prove it, but that's my best guess. So, how long have you been thinking about this? She asked, pointedly. I could stop there.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a good stretch, a good natural stopping point. Perfect. All right. Okay. So tell me what this section, how is it different than the start?
Well, I mean, clearly he's trying to explain, um, well, how do I say this? Like, she finally feels like she can get some answers about something she didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to answer it, but without scaring her.
Yeah. Right. So do you think that he has generally good motivation?
Yes, he is considered a good guy right now, as I haven't seen him be
Yeah.
evil.
Great.
Yeah,
So I think that can come across too, that like he's a little more genuine and caring kind of a feel. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I feel like we can bring that across a little bit more. Could be something we could add to it. Do you like that idea?
I do, I do. Yeah, and it makes sense.
Yeah, that we don't get like creeped out by this guy.
No, 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 no. We should not be creeped out about it.
Right, exactly.
He's there to like I said, help her out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, he is our friend. We like him. Yeah, so I don't want to feel like it's so suspenseful that I start to feel um, like a negative feeling or like I'm creeped out or like I don't trust this guy. Because I think part of as the narrator, our job is to give people to kind of guide them to what we want them to be feeling in that moment.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just kind of a thought that I had. Um, so then let's try. Um, and then how do you think she's feeling towards him at this moment?
I think that she's just trying to get as much information as she can. So I think that she's feeling like this is an opportunity for her.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. All right, so she feels, I mean, if she thinks it's an opportunity, I think she can be a little bit more eager, and like tell me more, you know. So that can come across that she's like, okay, I'm pretty open to this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we try it again?
Sure.
Awesome.
He didn't sprawl. He sat deliberately and carefully, and she'd noticed he'd taken the one with his back to the wall. Start anywhere, he invited. Clara wrapped both hands around the glass, not because it was cold, but because it had edges. What happened to me? Keats took his time, like he always took time to consider a question before beginning to answer it. You survived in a way most people don't, he observed. And you noticed. That's not enough, he finished for her, unoffended. It's the beginning. The bus, she clarified, to make it explicit. Keats nodded once. You refused to die so hard that something broke. She laughed. One sharp sound. It landed wrong, like a cough wearing a costume. Something? Time, he answered. Or whatever keeps the schedule when people miss their appointments. My husband has just, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing
Okay.
at his words. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. So I definitely, there was a little bit of a different feel there to me. So how did the voices change? Like, what did we do to make a voice sound? Like, if you were going to describe to somebody, like, how somebody who is more trustworthy or warm or safe, like, how that person feels as opposed to like a slimy, salesy person, or, her being a little more eager and open, what do we tend to hear in those voices?
I don't know. I tried to give her a little bit more vulnerability, um, because she is trying to get her questions answered. So I was trying to,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. That's what I was thinking about, at least when I was saying her words. I don't know if it came across like that. And then for him, I was trying to be friendly, um, and not too aggressive, just um, answering her questions in a nice
Mhm.
way. Again, trying not to scare this poor child.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to scare them, right?
I don't know. Like I think about myself, I'm like, well, if if I suddenly realized that I could go back in time, that'd probably be a little freaky.
Right. Yeah. So trying to be reassuring and comforting in that moment and trying to make them feel safer. Yeah, is important.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah,
that
awesome.
some of his words are really funny. Like you refused to die so hard that something broke. That's just funny to me.
Right. And I could see her also being a little bit like, I'm a little confused at this moment,
Yeah,
too, you know?
for
So
sure.
I could definitely see that as well, where it
I
could
told
be a
him,
little bit confusing.
told Michael the other day, I was like, everybody kind of talks the same in these weird riddles in your book. Like, I think it makes it, I don't know. for me, I guess reading it and trying to you speak completely differently than I do, right?
Right. Exactly.
And he's like, well, I've really tried to make Keats feel very, um, a little bit more professional. But I'm like, he says, you refuse to die so hard that something broke. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, you want it to be accessible. You want people to understand it. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
exactly.
I don't know. It's cool. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. But or it's just gonna be like this. The whole book is half teenager speak, I guess,
Yeah.
and half like strange riddles. Um, so just the way he wants
Yeah.
to write it,
Yeah.
apparently.
So, but I definitely think it is totally fine to, you know, let him know those things and be like, hey, like, this is kind of awkwardly stated. I might, lean into that a little bit more and be like, okay, I'm gonna purposefully, um, when it is kind of mysterious and poetic like that, maybe I purposefully lean into that more, you know? Like maybe I um try to like make that even like make it mysterious, you know? Be like, okay, I'm gonna try to make it a little more mysterious and intriguing and lean into that more in this moment. Um So I might change my voice in a way that kind of like brings that out, you know? So
Yeah,
just a thought.
yeah. No, I mean, it might be a way to deal with it because, like I said, all the dialogue in this is like this. So,
Yeah, where it's kind of like, huh, all right.
interesting, flippy conversations, but it's not really how people talk to each other.
Yeah,
So it's, yeah. But anyway,
yeah, and that's
it makes,
okay.
I don't know, it gives the book character. Actually, like I feel like the book has a character.
For
So,
sure, for sure. It gives that book flavor, and something interesting and unique about it that you don't always get other places. So, I think that's perfectly fine. It's just how do you, as a narrator, choose to work with that? Um, so yeah, I think that that might be something to explore how you want to express that, right?
for
So
sure,
yeah,
for sure, yeah. I just,
yeah. So
yeah, want to help, and I want to be able to, do it right
mhm.
the way he was envisioning.
Yeah, yeah, right. But I feel like that might be a fun way to play with it is in those spots where it's like this isn't how a normal person talks and it's like riddles, maybe lean into making it sound more mysterious in those moments. Yeah. So just a thought.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so just some things to explore this week. I know today was a little less like last time was more like straightforward, just rules of thumb, and today was a little more like working through the nuance of this particular scene. And so yeah, I think it's totally fine that you were like, yeah, I didn't pick a different scene to work on today, and that we just kept working on the same one and like went a little farther with it, just to really get into the nuance more. I think is great.
Oh, for sure. All of these things help me. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you working through it with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that you made some really good changes. There were like subtle changes, there were more dramatic changes. Um I definitely was hearing lines differently when you would approach them different ways. So, this is part of that process of like, I'm going to try this. Now I'm going to try this. Now I'm trying that. Now I'm trying that. Um, and you'll get ideas. You'll be like, oh, I really like this phrase when I approach it like this, but I really like this phrase when I approach it like that. And so you'll find these like beat shifts that are happening and like, oh, okay, so they had a new discovery there. And so that changes, like I was going this direction, now I'm going this direction. So you'll find those kind of key shifting moments for the characters too. Yeah. Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think that building trust kind of an element is something I would lean into a little bit more with this.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah. Like maybe there are things that he's like, I don't want to scare you. So there are things I'm gonna not totally like just say flat out yet. But I'm like trying to build trust with you. And I know what it's confusing right now. But I'm trying to like make you feel safe. Yeah. Because I do feel like certain things that he could say could be like a slap in the face and could make her be freaked out, you know? So that could be part of why he's speaking in these riddles and a little more like mysterious because he doesn't want to scare her off too fast, you know? So
Probably also not all that scientific.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's some magical elements in there too. Yeah. Awesome. Great. So, really good progress today. I would maybe chat also with your husband, on some of his ideas and thoughts and be like, here are some things we explored. What do you kind of feel like works with your vision? And then see his take as well. Or sometimes I'll send people, I'll be like, hey, I recorded, these two lines three different ways. Which one do you like best? Which do you feel like fits your vision the most? And then that gives me a little more clarity on, what they're feeling. Because sometimes they'll give you direction. And like you were saying, sometimes I think I'm doing it in my head, but it comes across differently. So sometimes doing it that way, where it's like, if I say this line these three different ways, which one aligns with your vision? And then that helps me connect more how I interpret things and how they interpret things. So that could be another way to get more info, more clarity. Yeah, but it is kind of a like mystical kind of a feel there. So we're just gonna lean into that a little more. Like you were saying, embrace the non-scientific magic of the moment. Yeah, awesome. All right, well, beautiful work today.
You know,
We're just gonna keep trucking along. So
I like it.
even if you don't have time to like really practice a ton before our next session, we're still gonna do the work in the session. So we'll still keep making progress.
I like it.
All right,
Thank
awesome. It
you.
was great to see you. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next week, okay?
All right, see you next week. Bye bye.
All right, bye, Shamara.